friends, tell them that my ego today and tonight, I actually have a lot to unpack. So it may be a long night, but it's going to be worth it. So we are starting with the latest from Peter Obi's running mate in the 2023 charade. That is Datti Ahmed, who was a guest, of course, with a show on Politics Today on Channels Television. And, he addressed the state of the nation under Tinubu. He spoke about the INEC, discussed about his relationship with Obi, then the 2027 talk, where he also discussed the coalition, and that's the rider, by the way, where he categorically said that the coalition is to deceive Nigerians. And for the political watchers like us, that is interesting because in reality, right, it is in contrast to what Obi, his own professed principle, that they are on the same page. His position contradicts that of Obi, who has repeatedly, right, publicly declared his commitment towards the coalition, ADC, and what have you. But he said he would be more than willing or happy, right, to be Peter Obi's running mate in 2027. And the question then is, on which platform, Labour Party or the coalition party? What happens if Obi had to, which is going to happen, right, had to come out before the end of the year to declare his presidential ambition within the ADC? Would that not kind of like, expose whatever it is that Datti is somehow running from? Because, like I said, on the one hand, right, he is with Obi, but this is not the first time that he has publicly come out to say this their coalition is, this or that. So that's where we're going to start from this evening. And thank you very much for joining me again. Hear the broadcast if you haven't already. Okay. So let's start with his position primarily on the INEC, because according to him, except the current leadership of INEC is completely like weeded out. Everyone talking about 2027 is probably deluded, right? Including the removal of Yakubu, right? So let's start with that. Datti.
Which is not up to now consistent with the Nigerian constitution, the declaration itself. And I stated it. They have finished us. They have declared a government that is in place and providing the kind of governance they can provide. So I have no business with INEC besides the statement of facts. Now, having cleared this, and it is very, very important to do so, statement of fact, let INEC do what they feel like. Let their conscience judge them. Let posterity judge them. Let Nigerians judge them.
By November this year, yes. Professor Mahmoud Yakubu's time at INEC will gradually wind down. In your own view, the leadership of INEC could be very critical. Nigerians are asking for electoral reforms and looking forward to an election that will bring some level of trust in our democracy. What are your own views about who should be the next lead, who should lead INEC going forward into a critical 2027 elections?
Very simple answer. A credible person. That's all I want. That's all I want, a credible person. Not somebody who would clearly read what the Constitution provides. 25% in at least 2/3 of the states of the Federation and the FCT, and go ahead to breach the Constitution and put Nigeria in what Nigeria is in today. Just one individual. If you recall, I told you, throughout human history, individuals make or break nations. This man is going to be responsible for what has happened, what is happening in Nigeria. It is wrong. I still say it is wrong up till now. Without apology, it's a statement of fact. Another arm of government upheld what he did. I beg to say, as small as I am, by the service of God Almighty in my heart, it is wrong what they upheld.
But you were proven wrong by every institution of state.
We were not wrong.
But the court says you were wrong.
No, they have the power to say we were wrong. Now, this is another clarification we have to make. The courts have the power to say you are wrong, even if you're not wrong. And we were not wrong. That election was rigged. And that election, the results up to now are not consistent with the Nigerian Constitution. Anyway, leave that. You asked me who I want is not important. I want a credible person. I would rather we talk about democracy for once. I would rather we talk about the Fourth Republic for once. I would rather we talk about the average Nigerian citizen for once. Because the Nigerian politician, the Nigerian elite, and the Nigerian leaders.
Because our election is at the heart.
Yeah.
Because it's a process of choosing a leader. No matter what kind of state that you have, when you don't have the right leader, you're set for a disaster. And that
not. So Datti remained the only person in the last election that is constantly telling everybody that Obi won, but the system gave it to Tinubu. It never means the system, it means this was on that. So Yakubu is going in November. Wow, I didn't even kind of. So what if Tinubu extends his stay? Like, what are you gonna do? Just random thought. Like, what are you going to do? He extended the tenure of the police IG illegally. He extended the tenure of I think it's custom or something, illegally. And he's done that in different other, government agencies, by the way. So if he does this for Yakubu, and damn you, like, what are you going to do? Because he has the power to. That is what is wrong with the entire process. Because why would somebody who is going to be part of an election have the power to choose the people that would supervise the election? Isn't that the first sign? Well, anyway, talking about democracy, we're going to come back to that too, right? Kingsley Moralu was talking about the kind of democracy that is being practiced in Nigeria and Africa in general, or some part of Africa in general. I want to add that to that before we go back to Datti.
This is the point that I was trying to make concerning that particular issue about our democracy. Many of our political parties are not serious. They are not in this to win. It's a trading, it's a hustle for them. And so then, what makes them better than APC or PDP? We complain about APC and PDP. Yeah, 100 million naira fund. It's a matter of scale. In some parties, the fund may be 20 million or 15 million or 30, but the same issue is taking place. So, but that's by the way. Let me address the matter of zoning very briefly. And the reason I brought up my own experience is because I made it very clear that I'm not offering myself to be president of Nigeria based on where I come from. My politics was never ethnic. I was seeking to be president because of a vision that I have for this country. But that is not inconsistent with the matter of equity and social justice. I've finally landed. Now, this matter of equity and social justice, there was a study by Harvard University in 2002 called fractionalization. That study empirically proved that where there is a heterogeneous environment, the more heterogeneous it is, the more fractionalized the country is. And they showed by empirical study that Japan and the two Koreas are the two most homogeneous countries in the world. And that European countries were also highly homogeneous in their composition. But that African countries tended to be the most heterogeneous countries on earth. Empirically proved. And that is one of the reasons why in Africa there is a lot of division. And democracy can, if it is not very well managed, contribute to fractionalization. How do you solve that? You can develop a democracy that suits your own local environment. And that is where this zoning matter came up. You also have to look at the matter of constitutional restructuring. Because the only way you manage a big, diverse federal state is through a federal system. And that's why you see America, it's federalism, Australia, Canada, Germany, Brazil, India, so many countries that are big and also have heterogeneous populations tend to be federal states. But in Nigeria, we are running away from the matter of constitutional restructuring. Then we're not serious. So that's why we must come back to that matter. And then we must come back to the matter of zoning. In the matter of constitutional restructuring, we can look at, it's a debate, we can look at, should the presidency, for example, rotate across the 6 geopolitical zones? Switzerland is a confederation. The presidency rotates every 2 years to every one of the 26 cantons in Switzerland. Are you more developed than Switzerland, that recognizes the fact that there are French Swiss, there are Italian Swiss, there are German Swiss, and then you have the Romanced. So in Nigeria, we tend to, I don't believe in running away from issues. Let's solve the problem. For our own peculiar environment, we should look at, one, a return to proper federalism. Because that is the only way we can also break the economic logjam we are facing in this country. Well, let's hope so. But the fact of the matter is, and why is this happening? It's because politics, vested interests, is what is running Nigeria's economy today. Nigeria's economy is not being run by sound economic principles or competence. No! This is...
And just for your information, Kingsley Moalu was once top notch in the Central Bank of Nigeria. I think he was the deputy governor. But the thing that I kind of picked from everything he said, which I hope you did too, is the fact that the fake democracy that you are running in that contraption that gave birth to all this multi-party, where most of them are just business ventures. They talk to PDP, APC, right, due to their own access to the state cover or federal cover, which makes them, talk to in this sense. Have somehow given birth to other hustling parties, which are also there for the take of anyone who can pay. So in the midst of all of that, in the midst of that mess, everybody's fighting for possibly the main, the main cake. Because in Nigeria, it is a winner takes it all. You have to do everything. That is why Tinubu said, power is not served a la carte. You don't wait for you to be served power. You have to grab it, snatch it, and run with it. Meanwhile, they did all of that. You all saw that, right? They did all of that before your very eyes. And if you want to take power from them, simply means that you are likely going to have to triple their own level of criminality. Or, yeah, probably to cancel, let me say it this way, right? If people are not allowed to determine how they want to be governed, how you want to be governed simply means you are writing your own constitution. And in that, every tribe, every ethnic, sub-tribe, everybody inside that place will be covered. And a referendum on a document that says this is what we agree on, or this is what we're going to agree on, right? And if any of this is to change, this is the process that we have to go through, that we also bring all of us back to the table to determine if we want it changed. Kind of like that. That's when you can say, okay, your own type of government is democracy, or people crazy, or people normal, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah? Every type of government that they taught us in government, right, or social studies and what have you, they were invented by people who were able to convince a section of their country to believe in their ideology of how people should be ruled, and somehow they became established form of government all over the world. Yeah. So what can you say is Nigeria's form of government? They will say it is federalism, it is democracy, but in practice, it is absolute unitary system of government. Unitary system of government, where the power lies in the hand of one man. Everybody just have to do for whatever share they can get. So back to Datti. Because it is in that system, in that chaos, that an electoral system is put in place. And there is no way, when you kind of pay attention very well, there is no way that a system created purposely to fail, because this is kind of like intentional. Whatever you have in that Nigeria right now, they're all man-made, so intentional. So some will say Nigeria is not working, but the majority are saying Nigeria is not working. But there are few that are saying Nigeria is working. Nigeria is working. Everything is fine. Politicians won't tell you Nigeria is not working. It is impossible, right? So for them, Nigeria is working exactly the way they want it to be working. Now you, the majority, who knows that this is not working, would have to actually like say enough. For how? Election? Right. Let's go back to that. This is where he was asked, about the state of the country under Tinubu and its relationship with Obi. Wait for it.
Peace, you have to create your prosperity. And if you are deliberately wasteful in doing that, like we are, kilometer of road, bed space in hospitals, the public institutions, universities that we know. For example, way back in 2010, 2011, somebody creates a university with 2.5 billion, and somebody else in government is starting a public university with 10 billion in a temporary site. These are all procurement issues. So that is corruption. Yeah. And let me repeat, when you have leaders that remove personal, group, and political interests from governance, then you are beginning to fight corruption.
So
now, what happens now is intrinsically, Nigerian leaders come in by default, and Nigerian people seem to have accepted it. Once you have taken power over the Nigerian state, give the contracts the way you want them, share the oil wells the way you want them, make the appointments the way you want them, do it, and no Nigerian will come out to oppose you on that.
All right.
And this is not democracy. In fact, even the parliamentarians are silenced through different means, including threat of not being